The Roman Empire projects an image of absolute masculine authority, legions, emperors, and monuments built by men. But look closer at the physical remains of this civilization, and you are looking at the infrastructure made possible by the massive capital of a shadow class of female investors. To see how they acquired that wealth, we have to look at the baseline of the early republic, a system governed by patria potestas. This gave the father absolute legal power over his household, including total control of her property and marriage. When a woman married under the traditional system known as manu, she was legally severed from her birth family. She became a member of her husband's household, and any property she brought with her was swallowed by his estate. Under this contract, the woman held no proprietary capacity, her inheritance and assets were legally submerged. Merged into her husband's accounts, leaving her with no independent wealth to her name. This strict arrangement made women financially invisible for elite families wanting to keep ancestral wealth within their own lineage rather than losing it to a son-in-law. The system was a failure and it demanded a radical workaround. By the late Republic, Roman families pushed back by adopting a different contract. Sine manu, meaning without hand. Under sine manu, the bride remains legally tied to her biological father. Her property is kept strictly separate from her husband's, ensuring that her family's wealth does not permanently transfer to his lineage. The turning point arrived when her father died. At that moment she became sui juris, independent of paternal power. She now stood as the legal owner of her family's assets, inheriting land, slaves, and capital in her own name. The husband received the temporary use of her dowry for the duration of the marriage, but the core capital remained hers. If the marriage dissolved, he was legally required to return it. This dry contractual shift resulted in a massive multi-generational transfer of wealth by remaining legally separate from their husbands. Roman women were positioned to manage the fortunes of the empire's elite. Even as legal owners of vast estates, women still faced a final barrier in the Roman code that attempted to limit their financial agency. This was tutela muliorum, or the guardianship of women. Even an adult woman who was sui juris still required a male guardian. To formally authorize her major civil transactions, without a guardian's signature, she could not legally sell Italian land, draft a will or manumit a slave. The law was designed to keep her wealth under the oversight of a male relative. To bypass this, women utilized a calculated legal maneuver called coemptio fiduciae causa. They entered into a fictitious marriage sale. Followed by immediate emancipation, this maneuver allowed a woman to effectively fire a restrictive guardian and replace him with a proxy of her own choosing, someone who would provide formal authorization for any deal she wanted to close. By neutralizing the guardianship system, these women secured personal control over their capital, allowing them to manage businesses as they saw fit. We can see the results of this freedom in the Roman real estate market, where women became dominant investors. Terentia, the wife of the orator Cicero, amassed a diverse independent portfolio that included tenement apartment blocks in Rome, suburban woodlands, and several large farms. She used her personal fortune to help finance her husband's high-stakes political career, managing the entire estate while he was in exile. Her financial autonomy was absolute. When disputes over fund management became too much, she divorced him and walked away with her empire intact. In Pompeii, the evidence of female economic power is even more visible, particularly in the textile and construction industries. Eumachia inherited a brickworks from her father and ran a flourishing wool processing monopoly. She was a major entrepreneur and patron of the powerful Fullers Guild. She utilized her wealth to build the largest public structure in the Pompeian Forum at her own expense, dedicating the monument to the imperial values of concord and piety. For women like Terentia and Eumachia, capital was more than just wealth, it was a mechanism to exert political and social influence in a world that denied them a vote. This influence reached the heart of Rome's industrial sector, the mass production of building materials. Domitia Lucilla the Younger inherited massive clay beds and operated a sprawling industrial syndicate. She managed over 20 individual workshop supervisors and major contracts across Italy. Her factory's bricks were the core components of Rome's most famous structures. Her materials were used to construct Trajan's market, the Colosseum, and the Pantheon. The physical proof survived. Today, we can still see her official maker's mark stamped into the very blocks that hold these monuments together. The literal foundation of the Roman Empire was manufactured, managed, and profited on by a female industrial titan. This concentration of female wealth reached a climax during the late Republic as civil wars drained the state's coffers in 42 BCE. The Second Triumvirate attempted to levy a direct tax on 1,400 of the wealthiest women in Rome to fund their war effort. A woman named Terentia led a protest into the Roman Forum, publicly challenging the most powerful men in the world. She argued that women should not be taxed to fund wars they were not allowed to vote on. She won. The triumvirate backed down, exempting most of the women and proving the significant leverage their collective wealth provided by navigating the shift to sine manu marriage and ruthlessly outmaneuvering guardianship laws. Roman women secured a massive stake in the ancient economy. The image of Rome as a purely male-driven society is an illusion. The empire was a project built on their capital, and their fingerprints are